Welcome to episode 41 of the WireTap podcast with Alex.
And Carlos, what's up,
What's going on,
Alex?
dude? It's been a
How long's
while.
it been, man? How long's it been?
It's been a minute.
I mean, we've
You know,
talked, but we haven't been on the show because we've been figuring some things out for the show, figuring some things out for ourselves and our personal lives. But man, it's good to see you. You look very bright today, man. You brightened it up earlier. You were a little dark. It's a
well,
beautiful
you
smile
turn the
you
light
got
on
there.
and everything. What's going on
What'd you
with
get
you,
for
man? How you been?
Christmas, man? I'm good, man. I'm just kicking off the new year, closing the previous year out, man. It's a lot of work to close out a previous year as far as looking at, profit and loss statements, figuring out what you're going to do for the future, setting casting vision for the next year, what that looks like, how are we going to scale, how are we going to grow, et cetera, et cetera. Right behind me, I've got my Google Analytics ready to go. So that I'm in the office today, and I think I'll continue to do our show in the office today versus how we've done it in the past. But how about you, man? What'd you get for Christmas, dude? I feel like I barely asked you what you got for Christmas, man.
Nah, I mean, I just got a little bit of stuff.
Didn't you
Appreciative
get
of.
some? I thought you got some Louis Vuitton
Nah,
shoes.
man,
What's that? Oh, you don't
man,
want
why
to put
you
it
got
out there. Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
nah?
Hey, I got a Louis Vuitton duffel bag. I'm happy about that.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Just got some couple cool gifts but not just pretty much spend spend time with the family and just enjoy time off and trying to recharge the batteries to start another year, go full
Right,
throttle
right,
and
right, right.
new goals, new ambitions, you set everything what you plan for the year, look back at how you did the year, what could have you done better. I mean that's pretty much it.
People always. I heard this philosophy a couple of days ago. So there's a guy who I listen to. He does watches. I don't know if you're into. I don't think I've ever heard you say you listen to guys who resell watches. So there's
Yeah.
the gray market, right? The gray market is out right now,
Oh, I
and
know who that is. Yeah.
well, it's not really Roman. I'm not talking about him. The gray market itself, right? The resale market. There's a guy who is in the resale market, and he says that when he sets his goals, instead of setting goals for the whole year and knocking them out every month and things of that nature, he says, go ahead and start portions or pieces of the goals within the first 12 days of the year. I found that pretty interesting. He says, because then you just let it go. If you don't get a jump start on it and don't do it as soon as possible, it never happens. That's a very interesting approach to setting
It's a
goals,
snowball. It's like
right?
the
The
snowball,
snowball
right?
method. So that's the interesting part. And I mean, I will say, man, that's quite exciting, quite adventurous. But yeah, I'm just like you, man. I'm setting goals, setting things up, getting ready for the new year. Like I said, closing out the old year. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's good to be here. And we listen, our listeners. I don't know if you've noticed, Alex, but looking at the analytics on our show, people have been listening to our show while we haven't even put new stuff out there. We hit some serious numbers a couple of weeks ago, and I'm impressed by that. It's just reaching new listeners organically. That's the thing. We don't put any money in those that are listening to us or those that have seen our show or even heard our show. It's all organic. So either somebody sharing it or people are searching and they're wanting to learn more
They're
about business,
stumbling
but
into it
also
and they're staying.
right,
Yeah.
right, 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 and they're having a good time while they're listening. So we thank you for listening. We thank you for subscribing, and if so, as always, as you hear everybody say, hit that bell, hit that button, and don't forget about us. But kicking off the new year with one of the shows, man. What is this on crypto ban, Alex? I thought that was a hot topic to discuss while we've been out. That crypto is not only banned in China, but it made its way to in other 8 countries. What do you think about that, man? And the reason I ask you is because crypto has been, I mean, you and I know this is a
It's
hot
the
topic.
loss. No, I think it's the loss of power. If you can't control people's money, then I don't know how much could control. Like if you know, one of the things people worry about right now, if say you owe money to the IRS and everything, they just go in your bank account and just take the money. But if they don't have access to your money or they can't get into it, how can they control you like that? I mean, obviously
Mm,
now it goes into crime and black markets and all this other stuff. But the thing
right,
is
right,
you're giving the power back to the people.
right,
Um,
right.
versus having money in a centralized bank where, I mean, it's the same thing. They're keeping the ledger, right? It's not like I can walk right now into West Fargo and be like, "Hey, I need to pull 100K from my account or something." They'll be like, "Oh yeah, let me just walk to the vault and get it." It's not like they have it. It's a digital ledger that they have in their banking system, and we're saying that when we log into our bank account, we're saying, oh, "Okay, that's the money that I have," and then they validate it, say, "Yep, that's the money that he's have," right? So if you take them out of the equation and
Mhm.
now it's decentralized, right? So it's out in the
Right, right,
market. It's
right,
either
right.
you lose some benefits with that as well. Like if
Absolutely.
something happens, somebody takes your money, then that's it. There's nothing you can
Right,
do. There's nobody that
right.
can put that money back and say, no, we got you, we protect you, because the bank backs their ledger and says, oh yeah, no, that was his money, give it back, or somebody takes your money, they're able to kind of work the system right and get your money back.
But it's a 42, but
Versus
Alex,
crypto, you can't.
it's a total of 42 countries. It's no longer just 8, man. It's a total
That's
of
what I'm saying. They
42
don't want to lose no
countries.
power. I think they don't want to lose no power.
So what is it?
It's
So what does that say if it's being banned and now you can't accept it and now it's not recognized unless you're in the black market? I mean, because here's the thing, in the world that we live in the United States of America, I can go to certain stores and use crypto, right? I can use my Bitcoin
mhm.
wallet and purchase items, whether that's an NFT, whether that's a watch, as I'm talking about, right? Or a car, it's recognized as something that can be used to purchase, right? It's a currency at that point. But here in this situation with a total of 42 other countries, man, it's not even being recognized, right? It's not even something that I can put a sticker outside my small business and say, hey, now accepting Bitcoin, right? So, I think that plays a role. Have you seen the crypto market lately?
Yeah, yes, I have. Cause
Did you get my link the other day that I sent you?
no, which one about the 101 cryptocurrencies or
No,
what you
no,
talking?
where it had all the currencies listed, how they're performing, how they're doing. I don't know if I sent you that. I think I did. And it's just insane how, the coin market, if we're honest, man, is not necessarily struggling, but it's hitting all-time lows,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Especially your
for
top 10 coins, your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, USD, Cardano, Solana, XRP, Terra, and even Polkadot. Dogecoin has made its way away from the top 10. I don't know if you've noticed that in the Coinbase marketcap.com. I don't know if you follow that, Alex. But we see nothing but numbers just hitting all-time lows.
no, so like I went and bought a little bit of the dips just to see, and I put myself a particular number and I said, okay, well, this is it. This is how much I'm willing to put money into it
Right. They're all in
without.
reds today. They're all in
Yeah,
red.
no, correct. And then they keep dropping, but there's a certain dollar that you can put in there, and then you never know if they'll bounce back up, right? Now, if they continue with
It's
these
too
bans,
volatile, man.
yeah, it's obviously risky. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but in a way, there's some people that I mean, it's just a matter
Love
of time
it.
before
Live
they
off
go.
of it. Can't get
Yeah,
enough of it. Right.
it's like the government. The U.S. is eventually gonna make their own coin. I bet. I mean, they're gonna use something
I
to replace
think
the dollar.
that I think before federal efforts stick in, Alex, I think banks are going to have their own coin.
Yeah, like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or somebody like that. If
Absolutely.
you're in
I
the
think
United
we're moving
States,
more and
yeah,
more. And we've talked
absolutely.
a little bit about that, but I really do think it's going to happen, man. I really do think because they're missing out, right? They're missing out on
Yeah,
opportunity. And it's all it is hype, right? So,
yeah,
I think Bitcoin and all these other coins are good if you got into it in the beginning, right? If you got into it in
mhm.
the beginning, that's what you got to hold on to. You got to live it up at that point.
I mean, it's
But yeah,
still like
man,
they say, it's still like in some of what this article was saying, it's still the Wild Wild West, and it is, it
it
is, it's
is,
still.
it is,
Just
it
think
is.
about the internet back in the days. If obviously we were too young, or we were in the teenage phase when the internet came out, but all the people that were in our shoes or older than us, think about the internet, they were like, I don't know about this, and the people that jumped into it capitalized, and the people who didn't lost big money.
Right.
It's
Right.
still, I think the cryptocurrency world is in the NFTs is still that wild, wild west. You can make money in a blink of an eye. You can lose money in a blink of an eye.
Right. Right.
This year, I think one of my goals is I'm gonna try to invest a lot of my money into like dividend stocks. I'm gonna try to build a strong portfolio. That's being said, like Coca-Cola, Johnson and Johnson, and like even Apple. I already own
Like an
Apple, but
ETF.
still, no, not ETFs. It's still individual stocks. So like, but like
Oh, so
Apple, for
you're going to
example,
work on diversification more.
yeah, a little bit, but mostly on dividend stocks. Like I already own Apple, but it's
Gotcha.
just keep
Gotcha.
building more on my Apple
Gotcha.
portfolio,
Gotcha. So you're
building
going to make your
on
money
like,
on dividends. That's your
well, I'm gonna
strategy.
I'm gonna build. I'm not saying all of it. I'm just saying
Right. Right.
a majority. I'm gonna try to do my investment capital dollars. I'm gonna try to hit like 60% dividend stocks, and then the rest of it can go into different ones.
Gotcha.
But
So
I think that's a
heavy dividend payouts. It's your strategy for the year.
yeah, this year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm gonna
Oh,
focus.
okay. Okay.
60%, and then just to see what I can build off of that. Because I think obviously this those are gonna make money in the long run. It's not to get rich right away, but
Right. Right.
I
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
more the Warren Buffett strategy, right? Is like building slow, build a portfolio, build the what we talked about in the show, having staying consistent in your philosophy of what you're doing. And
Right.
obviously the
Right.
man has built billions of dollars in
Right.
different capital, right? Of course,
No, absolutely.
but
It's
he
it's
started
heavy
investing
performance. Heavy
small.
performance. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he started
Absolutely.
investing small. Yeah,
No. No.
that's the
Yeah.
plan.
Okay, so listen, it's a good strategy. I think that's a strategy that can be labeled as a strategy. But you got to remember that these aren't small caps, right? Those of you that are listening, anytime you're looking for heavy dividend payout, you're also going to need to invest in heavier stocks, right? You can't, you're not going to make good money if you're buying a stock worth $1, right? The dividend payout is not going to be as exciting as if you owned a high cap, right? Meaning if it was $100 or $1,000 or the lower end of a Berkshire Hathaway, right? I would say to you, those that are listening, when you hear Alex saying this is his strategy for the year, because he's noticing that the return is more guaranteed, right? Alex, I think, is it fair to say that you're looking for a more guaranteed approach to a payout, correct?
Well, correct, and it's basically more about like you said, it being some stocks are volatile and they move, and these are more
Right.
kind of
You
Apple.
don't
I
want to
don't
roll
think
the
it's it.
dice anymore.
Yeah,
You want to keep the cash coming
well, not
in.
this year, not this year.
Gotcha. Gotcha. It's
It's
good. No, that's good, Alex.
it's like different years. I try to approach the market a different way this year. I think it's gonna be more try to build that strong portfolio,
Mm.
and then once I get to a level that I want it, then you keep investing in something else. I
I
don't know
think it's a good move.
what you
I
got
do.
for this year. What's your strategy?
Financial strategy. So I will admit to you that I didn't make my 100,000 that I set my hopes, my dreams, my hopes
Yeah.
for. I came shy. I did. I hit a goal of 75,000. It wasn't 100 as I expected it to be, and that's okay, right? That's okay, because the goal is to set a goal, and to make sure that you aim towards a goal. But for me, I'm grateful that I was able to hit a number that was, closer to the goal than what it could have been. Because listen, man, with a 7% inflation rate hitting us at an all-time high as a country, things are getting more and more expensive. So the returns on specific market items are going to vary and they're going to fluctuate tremendously. I'm happy with a $75,000 return total, right? Than to be honest, at 100. So I'm this year, my goal is not necessarily a strategy such as yours. I think I'm going to buy the dips this year because
Yeah.
I think this coronavirus is going to hit some pretty heavier lows in its last regime that it's in. But I am going to say that I'm going to focus more on buying the dips. For example, I'm looking, and we'll talk about this ticker in a little bit, but just for example, I'm looking at ticker BSFC. B as in boy, S as in Sam, F as in Frank, C as in car. Today being January 21st at 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, we're looking at 120% increase on a stock that was purchased slightly under $2, and it's incredibly performing well. And its lowest was slightly under $2, and it's at $4.15 now. So I'm keeping my eye on and studying more and more of these dips, Alex.
Hmm.
So I'm going to say that that is my approach this year, and I'm hope to hit another between 50 to 60 on those dips versus the 100. I'm not sure how aggressive this year is going to look, to be quite honest with you, but we'll see. But I am going to at least set a goal of 50 to 60 for the year. That at the end of the year, I walk away with a payout of 50 to 60 netting, right? Aside from taxes and all that fun stuff. So that's really my strategy this year, is buying the dips and watching those that have underperformed. Not necessarily pump and dumps, but buy the dips, make some cash, and pull out. Right? There's not a whole lot of tax benefits on this approach, but it's a very aggressive approach, meaning that I'm going to spend a lot more time behind the screen than I'm used to, if I can say that. Where on yours, your strategy for the year, it's
It
autopilot
would,
in certain ways, right?
but it's a 60%. So obviously I'm still gonna be 40% buying dips, buying everything. The ticket that right now that I'm looking in, and it's just because I don't know where the dip is right now, because obviously the market is at a
Mhm.
downtrend right now. It's
Right, right.
it's Cathie stock, which is the ARKK, which is a ETF. Normally it was kind of high, but right now I'm
Yeah.
looking at it and it's 72.4, and I've been setting alerts to see what's
You've been
the
a
high,
fan
what's the
of
low.
ARC. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've been a fan.
no, correct, but now I think that I'm just kind of waiting to see. But
You're
this
gonna
is
pull
one
out
that
any
I'm
minute,
looking,
man.
huh?
You're gonna pull out any minute.
No, I mean I'm gonna be buying, honestly.
Oh, oh,
So
okay.
I'm looking at the lows and the highs, and I'm gonna buy if it hits to a certain range automatically. But I'm just waiting to see how low it can get, and I'm not trying to time it because you know how it is, Carlos. It's
Of
really hard to
course.
time the market, but
What'd
I
you
want to
come
get
in
a
at?
number,
What'd you
huh?
buy at? What'd
No,
you buy at?
I'm still
Oh, okay.
holding
Okay.
because I was gonna buy at 75, but see, right now is at 72.52 currently. Um, it may go down, it may go back up, but if it hits 60, I'm gonna buy a little bit, and then if it goes back up, if it gets past 78, I'm gonna buy as well. So it's kind of, I'm gonna probably buy a little bit, then wait, buy a little bit more, depending on what it does, and then just let it
Interesting.
ride and see what happens.
Interesting.
Because I don't
Gotcha.
think it'll recuperate, but probably by the end of the year, I think it'll shoot back up to where it was at, roughly around like the 120 range,
Right,
and see what
right, right.
happens. But that's not the one that I was talking about, the dividends. That's more like
It's
Apple,
just in general.
Coca-Cola,
Yeah, yeah,
Johnson
yeah.
Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're more secure approach, right? I get it. It's a
Yeah.
conservative approach. There's nothing wrong with that versus going down this route. This is quite aggressive. I mean, over the past 6 months, ARK has experienced a 40% drop, right? So that means it's good to
Mhm.
watch if you're going to buy the dips and waiting it for it to crunch up. I think once the government starts hiking up interest rates, we're going to see a change in the market. I really do think
Yeah.
that is going to happen even more now. Because here's the thing: in this particular political climate, Alex, the government is just going to push, push, and push cash out. They're going to print and print and print money because they don't want the economy to fail. Right?
Mhm.
That's the reality of things. Versus being in a different political arena, the other parties is going to see things a little differently. Right? They're not going to be as aggressive on printing money out than and creating the type of inflation that we're in now, which is why it's at 7%, right? So, speaking of money, speaking of moves, Alex, I have noticed that there is a lot of people, as far as within my network, that are changing jobs. How about you? Have you noticed that on your networking end? That a lot of people are just shifting and either moving up or moving into a related field or changing field altogether because they feel like it's time for a change in a season of change.
It's sometimes making a change is not a bad thing,
Right,
and
right,
I
right,
think what a lot of people realize is right now it's obviously a hiring market and people have more flexibility. Um, I think, like, for myself or what I do, if I was to change positions, is
right.
you're looking for somebody where it's more stay more continue doing what you're doing, where it's more remote and you don't really have to go into the office and do that kind of stuff. So most people are looking is like, well, why am I going to continue to work here when I can go work over here, make a little bit more money, and it's less demanding? And I
Right,
get
right, right,
so,
right, right,
I
right,
don't know. It's kind of weird, but if obviously if you're not comfortable where you're at, I think a
right.
change right now is perfect for anybody. Even
Well,
changing states, like you mentioned,
right,
right? There were
right,
some
right,
states that
right.
were paying you money to move,
To just
so
come
it's
live
like,
there.
yeah. So we covered that in last year's somewhere in one of those episodes. But if
Right,
they pay
right.
me money, like I'm not saying me personally, but if someone's paying me money and I'm looking for a change, why not look for something like that?
Right, right,
Absolutely.
right. No, no, no. I agree. And some of the things that you need to keep in mind, as job seekers coming about, some of the things that I want to say, and we've touched on this before, giving people just a heads up as to some of the best resume approaches, because you want
Mhm.
to oversell yourself in a market that is so saturated with people looking for something new, right? It's a competitive field, let's be honest, for a position that there is only one for. So I read an interesting statistic the other day that jobs are still scarce for those that are looking for higher pay and greater achievement, right? So if there's anything I would say, man, look, when you're writing your resume, focus on the future, don't focus on the past, right? If anything, always
Mhm.
write towards the future and the past, what you're going to do. I would always say that in your resume, write, hey, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm able to take your business. So if it's a sales position and you're using you're selling high net worth items, high luxury items, hey, here's what I'm able to do. Here's what I've been able to achieve, and here's what I'll continue to do. And use related experience that'll integrate those things. I've also talked about using critical keywords, right? Instead
Mhm.
of using words that just don't that are just so light in a resume building. Use professional words, right? Use professional words that are more personable, but also speak to that specific field, if that makes sense, Alex. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah. No, 100%. In what they mean with that, I mean, it's an example. You instead of say personal is, talent acquisition or different scenarios. And one of the things that I think a lot of people want to express their experience or whatever, they want to say like, okay, this is what I did. I'm very good at customer service. Okay, but everybody says that. But instead,
Right.
you can obviously you may not
Customer
want to.
engagement. Right,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
customer engagement, or you can want to say if you're actually doing the interview, is mostly talk about how your customer service. If you're not gonna say that, so you would say a story about what you did, how you helped somebody, how they were grateful, how the solution came, and then that speaks to volumes of what is your customer service. What does that mean, right? So you're telling the
Right, right,
story,
right, right,
and
right, right.
I'm sure you look at that. Yeah, I know I'm looking at that when I'm doing interviews. So that's what I would say is basically how you can make stories and wow the person who is
You got to
interviewing
wow
you.
them, right? You got to wow them. You're absolutely right. That's good. No, that's good. You want to always add that wow effect. What can you do in this specific position, in this specific company, that'll change just their approach in hiring you, right? Don't give them the same old thing as we just talked about earlier. As you mentioned, Alex, if you talk about personnel, don't talk about personnel, say talent acquisition, right? Make yourself more polished, make yourself shine, that at the end of the day, when they make a decision in who they're going to hire, okay, this sounds like someone who is really going to change just the way our company looks, right? So there were some other pieces that I remember reading when it comes to
I mean,
resumes, especially me building and hiring all the time. I mean, would you agree, Alex?
yeah, and I
You
was
got to
gonna
change
say
your lingo, your approach.
and if you add percentages, like
Numbers,
obviously
yes,
increasing revenue
yes,
by
yes,
certain
yes.
percentage. I did this,
Right,
and
right.
that was it cost
Alex, what was your
this much
number
in
last
saving.
year? How much did you increase in your department
I mean,
in sales?
it's I mean, I don't know if I want to
Ballpark it.
say right because, but
Ballpark it.
I worked over 21 million dollars in proposals out there, close to about roughly I don't know like 7 million or something in
Bam.
actual closed
See, you
business.
got to know your numbers,
So
guys. You got to know your numbers, right? You got to know them. So that's good. Sorry, Alex. That's an example that when you talk about sales, when you're putting yourself out there, you were able to acquire $21 million in new sales.
well, no, it's I proposed right. We closed around 7 million
Boom,
of that, but still,
boom.
it's like you're generating money
So you
for
had a
the
30%
company, and
closing rate.
I mean about
Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
right? So you know your numbers, right? You know your numbers, you're able
Hmm.
to sell yourself. Listen, if you were to put that on a resume and I'm hiring you, I'd be like sold, right? Because I know you're a closer, right? I know you're a closer and you can make it happen. So when you're building these resumes, guys, when you're competing for this job, know your numbers. Alex said, throw in percentages, be more personable, but also use words that are going to wow people, right? Make sure you wow people when it comes to your resume. As you grow your resume, as you're looking for ways to, at the end of the day, improve your net worth at the end of the day, right, Alex?
Yeah, and even if it's not it's say like, uh, even if it's not is something that you're an expert in or the field that you're an expert, most of these jobs that if you're looking for a job within kind of in the same realm or it can translate, I would say that a lot of jobs can translate to what you do.
Mm,
Obviously, sales can translate in everywhere because that's what you
right,
do,
right,
right?
right, right,
But even
right.
if I was a skilled technician of a certain field, I'm pretty sure that it can translate over to HVAC. Let's just say if I worked in the low voltage industry, well, if I had to transfer over to a high voltage company, it's the same thing. You're pulling cable, different
Mm,
codes, different stuff
mm,
like that. But
mm,
it's easy to learn. It's like and you
right.
can sell how you're easily adapt to new scenarios, learning, and but you can really sell yourself on your skills and how you are willing to learn and show stories and how you can be a trustworthy person and
Mhm.
you can be a medium performer, right? You don't always have to be a high performer, but if
Right,
someone can
right.
have trust in yourself, sometimes you rather have the trusted person high, and even though he's a medium performer, then instead of having a high performer that's an ass to work with. Nobody wants to work
Mm,
with that person, so you kill the morale, you kill the vibe.
mm,
So there's
mm,
different things that a company looks into.
No, that's true. No, no, no. I like that, Alex. And that's the thing. Now listen, there are jobs as you're looking on the field and you're trying to figure out what to do. There are some jobs. I think about New York City, right? New York City has got a lot of these door dashes. Even Atlanta. Let's not go so far, Alex. Looking at Atlanta, and there's these companies, and it is also a gig economy right now, right? You may be saying, well, hey, Carlos, I make $125,000 a year, but I've got an extra, spare 6 hours a day that I find myself like, what do I do? I'm okay where I'm at, but I want to do something. Well, hey, and you're looking for a gig, right? You may say to yourself, well, I want to grab a job at Grubhub or at DoorDash, right? Because you have that ability and maybe you live in the area that you could pull that off. Man, there are some serious effects that are taking place right now in that industry, Alex, when it comes to hiring for these positions and taking on these gigs that even the company as a whole, right? When it comes to the ticker and the stock market, they're being hurt because they're not allowing some of their workers to use the restroom, man. I mean, that's just a bit much, don't you think?
And is it a money situation about buying like sanitation stuff or the cleaning? I mean, I don't, each business is ran a certain way or they try, but I know it's hard times out there to judge a company, but man, there's some
Right,
things that you just can't like. I mean, denying access to somebody to use a bathroom. I
right,
don't know if that's the right call. I know probably if it was my business, it's like that's just one of the ones that you have to roll your sleeves and you gotta go with the punches, right?
right,
It's
right.
it's just part of it. You can't deny someone a bathroom use. But
Mhm.
again, I don't live in New York. I don't know how the people behave over there because obviously it's different behavior depending on where you go.
Right, right,
But
right.
I'm not sure about how I feel about that.
Well, you look at DoorDash just as a whole, as a company, right? Let's just
Mhm.
use DoorDash. Let's just pick on them for a minute, right? You look at DoorDash and you look at the past 6 months. The ticker DoorDash is what is the ticker for DoorDash? Do we know what the ticker is? It's under DoorDash. Oh, it's Dash. DASH is the ticker. Over the past 6 months, they have declined 33%, right? As a stock, 33%. 33% over 6 months is quite the dilemma, right? It's quite a dilemma. And I don't think we can attribute their success as a company on not allowing, right? Not allowing their workers to use the restroom. But what it does do, right? It creates a lack, right? A lack of what? Help, a lack of employees to say, hey, I want to be a part of this company and I want to work here to make some extra cash. So what happens now is these restaurants, or you sitting at home wanting to order DoorDash, well, now it's going to take 65 minutes just to place your order. So you won't see that food in the next 2-3 hours, right? Because there's limited amount of help, because somebody could have been working at DoorDash, but now they're not working at DoorDash because they found out that you can't even use the restroom if you happen to work at DoorDash, right? So
But
now
here's the
you
thing
don't
too,
have, now
Carlos,
you can't
is
cover the
like
market the way you want to.
I don't even understand that because it makes no logical sense. Like
Right.
obviously if I'm going to your restaurant to pick a food order, is because someone ordered that food. That could have been you at your house. Say you just order something. I'm DoorDash. I go in, I pick it up, and they say, "Well, you can't use the restroom. You have to buy something." I I'm picking up an order. Literally, I'm picking up the order
Mhm.
that someone else purchased. I'm just on their behalf. So if I'm picking up the order, they purchased something. Why can't I use the restroom? Is that's my order that I'm picking up? It's like
Well, we
I
had the
get
same
what they.
problem with Amazon, remember? We had the same
Mhm.
problem with Amazon in their warehouses. You couldn't use a restroom at Amazon. Like, are you kidding me? Is me taking the next 2 minutes out of my day to relieve myself going to collapse the economy for Amazon? Right? Now, do you want to
Nah,
work for a company that I can't even use a restroom for, Alex?
nah, probably not. So yeah, no, I get it. And we got
Right,
another
right,
dilemma, right, with Sony and Activision and Microsoft buying. They're making their partnership. Obviously, it's still under review, and there's a lot of stuff because they're trying to monopolize. But Sony
right,
feels
right.
the market feels it. I don't know if Sony, and I'm pretty sure they feel a little bit threatened by it because they can lose major game titles, and they lost like I think their stock went down 13%, which translates to billions of dollars.
Billions of
So
dollars. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you just
yeah.
know how a decision is made that can affect the company. So when you're saying 23% is down from Uber Eats or one of those, it's
Right.
I mean it's a big money is that they're losing. It's not easy thing, but Carlos, as we wrap down the show, I just want to say kind of what we said at the beginning of the show. Thanks for sticking with us and listening, even though we haven't been able to put any new content. It's kind of It's going to be a very busy year. I can see for myself. I don't know about yourself, but we're gonna try to make these happen. It's just I don't know how consistent we can be. We'll still try to be as much consistent as possible, but just bear with us.
Let
You
me
know.
let me say something. Look, I know we got to close up the show, but I wanted to say that you're probably wondering at home or in the car, and you're like, what did that mean? Like, they're talking about DoorDash, or talking about Uber Eats, or talking about restrooms and Amazon. Like, why would they bring all that up? My point is, the reason I wanted to say something about this, Alex, is no matter what you do in a company, check this out. No matter what kind of environment you place in a company, whether you're going to start one, whether you're in one, whether you're investing in one, think about this always. This is what I've always said, and Alex has said it as well. Keep in mind that everything plays a role in the success of a company that is moving forward or being still or moving down, whatever the case is. Everything plays a major role when it comes to stocks, when it comes to the success of a company, or in Alex's situation, a dividend payout, right? So something as simple as a bathroom could have now played a role in the depletion, if I could use that word, of a 30% loss over 6 months, because you're not allowing people, right? You can't activate the market the way you want to activate them. So no one wants to work for you. No one wants to do anything to help your company out because you have set an environment that is unhealthy. So the reason we bring all this up, the reason we say this is that when you're investing, number one, when you're investing, take a look at the whole layout of a company, right? Take a look at the whole situation. What are some of the things that they're dealing with? What are some of the debt that they have? What are some of the ways that people are viewing this company? Because it all plays a major role. If you're starting a company, listen, lead by example. watch, learn from others, right? So anyway, Alex, I wanted to touch up on that because the reason we bring that up, because this is a business show and we want to give you great business tips. We want to give you stock help, but at the same time, we also want you to think about, hey, why would that happen? Well, let's think about this, right? Let's really break this down. So wanted to bring that up because again, as you choose a ticker, as you choose a company, as you build a company, remember the environment that it has, right? Remember that everything plays a role in everything that what we do. So Alex, I just want to say that, man. And listen, I just want to know that I'm happy to know that you got some Louis Vuitton for Christmas, and I'm incredibly grateful because that puts a smile on your face.
Yeah. But the quote of the day is gonna come from Dolly Parton, and this is
Oh,
the way
is it a
the
rainbow? Is it a rainbow one that you're looking at?
yeah. You know it? The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you gotta put up with the rain.
Ooh, that's good, Alex. You gotta say that again,
Yeah.
man. You gotta say that again.
So the way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you gotta put up with the rain.
Ooh, that does it for me, man. My name is
Yeah, this
Carlos.
is Alex, and this is Alex, man. Thanks for
Peace,
tuning in.
guys.
See you
Later.
guys. Peace.